A very warm welcome to Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program with me, Sonam Rinchen. Our top stories this week. His Majesty King appoints Dasho Tsering Wangchuk as the new Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. The National Council recommends the government to establish a state mining corporation to prevent a few individuals from exploiting the benefits of the state-owned resources. And 3 more Bhutanese HIV positive disclosed their status to the public on the World AIDS Day in Galifu. His Majesty the King appointed Dasho Tsering Wangchuk as the new Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. The Constitution states the Chief Justice of Bhutan shall be appointed from among the drangpons of the Supreme Court or from among eminent jurists by the Druk Gyalpo by warrant under his hand and seal in consultation with the National Judicial Commission. His Majesty also conferred the orange scarf to Dasho Tsering Wangchuk in recognition of his sacred responsibility as the Chief Justice in the service of the nation. Lempo Tsering Wangchuk was serving as a drangpon of the Supreme Court prior to his current appointment. He began his career as a trainee officer at the High Court in 1987. He was awarded the Coronation Gold Medal in 2008 and the Red Scarf in December 2013 by His Majesty the King. Her Majesty Gyaltsin graced the celebration of International Day of Persons with Disabilities on Wednesday. A documentary on special needs produced upon the royal command of Her Majesty Gyaltsin was launched as part of the celebration. The documentary explores the opportunities that are available to people living with disabilities and encourages parents to seek support from various organizations. Parents and persons living with disabilities shared stories of their experiences, which was followed by performances by a member of Drakso and Disabled Persons Association of Bhutan. A music video album composed and directed by the association's music group was also launched at the event. The album was dedicated to the 60th birth anniversary of His Majesty the Fourth Druk Gyalpo. As per the 2005 census record, 3.9% of the population in the country are found to be affected with at least one form of disabilities. That means there are over 25,000 persons with disabilities and nearly 2,000 are residing in the capital. Many persons with disabilities we spoke to said Bhutan got to improve its infrastructure to the changing needs of the society. They gathered to celebrate the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, hoping that things might get better for them tomorrow.
27-year-old Tanbadu Gurung lost his vision when he was 18 years old. Today he is married to a woman who is also visually impaired but partially. They said the government is doing what they can, but lots need to be done. It does not end here. The couple said people's attitude towards persons with disabilities also matters.
Double toning, change Joachin la. Anale Laluki Gepchure, Laluki Chigara Lane Baumel.
So to create awareness on their rights, dignity and welfare, Dan Bahadur and his wife joins their friends to mark the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. He said today is an important day for people with disabilities to learn about their rights.
Me the sui beajin Lalu did Khagidi Lamela, I Zhao Home. Tell Annie love the same Homel. The Kongi I meet on Matomi did Ondo Lamta Salau Aching at Gaibala. The Lalugi Tada Annie Bendo, the Lalugi, the Annie Debgit Polelamdola, Jarawa said the Jarawa loved the knitting at it, Henge same of home as Sunil.
The chairperson of the Ability Bhutan Society, Dasho Tsering said almost all public facilities do not provide or facilitate any easy access to people with special needs. However, they are hopeful that the facilities would be provided.
At the initial stages of development, priority was not so much given to the needs of people who are not fully competent to use the kind of facilities. But I'm sure more and more consciousness is coming. So in future, I'm sure, and then as expected, everybody will have to work towards making it a disabled-friendly city.
It may not be far when people with disabilities can easily and independently move around in the town, and that is what they might call an achievement. Ishingitup, PBS News.
The 18th SAARC summit, as it ended in Nepal, signed a landmark agreement on energy cooperation, meaning SAARC member countries would now be able to realize the common benefits of cross-border electricity exchanges and trade.
The Kathmandu Declaration is a list of decisions and commitments from the member countries to intensify connectivity, trade and security, among others, in the region. Under this, the leaders committed to enhance support to least developed and landlocked countries so that the free trade agreement benefits all countries. In this context, they agreed to implement the preferential facilities under SAFTA. The SAARC Development Fund was agreed to be strengthened, under which all projects would see a speedy development. The leaders also reiterated their strong commitment to free South Asia from poverty and called for sharing of experience, expertise and best practices in elevating poverty. It also directed relevant SAARC bodies to finalize the establishment of the regional vaccine and livestock genie banks. Education ministers of the 8 countries were also advised to develop a regional strategy for enhancing the quality of education. It also agreed to observe the World Youth Skills Day on the 15th of July to appreciate and recognize the youth and their skills. Meanwhile, India also offered to develop and launch a satellite dedicated to SAARC countries. Other declarations include tourism promotion, cultural preservations, the role of media and the need for effective cooperation among all member countries to fight the menace of terrorism. Compiled for the Kishore Ndoji and Cheche, Ishingitup, PBS News.
The National Council criticized how board members and executives of public mining companies earn huge amount of salaries without any ceiling. Members justified their statement, saying that mines belong to the state and its people and it should benefit them, and thus no individual should have the authority to take advantage of the huge income earned by the mines and quarries.
As per the Council's Special Committee's report on mines and quarry, the Chief Executive Officer of Jimmy Mining Corporation Limited in Samtsi, a public company under the Lucky Group of Companies, is paid a monthly salary of 500,000 Newton. The report said the salary is extremely higher than the monthly salary of the CEOs of the state-owned corporations and enterprises. The Samtsi MP said, in absence of any legal provisions, board and executive members of the public mining companies also decide their own salaries.
MMA 1995 사들 진종기 짜팀디 디틀러 짜지 배급도 티는 배급도 세미딩하기 속된 니범는들로 된연주 슈어피스 슈니라 디쪽테 배 컴퍼니즈 액트로 디쪽테 배 디나로 공기 토궁도 수에 가데베 존나 디 진종 탑니기 된도 날레파노 섬타한디기베 대차팀 닥지라 나치르기 대 다르기 초콘디나로 가다가 티는기 장수 존나 대 투삼 셰심다 대 송대난 겁시 도매매 스슈니라
팀다 딕지 짜이 디수 맵 잠치기 디수 배초가 제위기 땅파랑기랑 디워 깨고베 스슈니라 ngachi misi gara beru 팀 민두 당가 디 배초마레스위기 베다 베위기 빼다 빼미시 스슈니라 디랑기랑 치지 고라.
Thimphu's MP also talked about the board members and CEOs taking donations from the companies they work in. He said it makes one wonder on what basis this has been done.
The Rangiran Shendip Chimiso Assisi Tabmadi were a bomber jail message. The Rangi Lazin Nale Rangiralu, the Shendip Chimdalo, the Jida Chungun Kachilu Shadi Chimina, the Ansu no salation Mertango Dusilla. The Majiru that in the Shendep that is to Chingovachin, the Jika Chisha Chingovina, the Kara team no say ribedu, the Indra Besichu, Shende Lemige, Lin, Chimige, Chimbolo, the Rangiran Chimbolo, Tineta Modi Bombedu.
The eminent member of the House, MP Tashiwangmu, said a way forward must be thought of to avoid such happenings in the future.
The Dedepchi, the Nalefagi, the Ketsogi, Timida, Gopin Chachapki, the Ipo de Seji Gadimchi, the Ya Saint Michoga, say Zumchigi, Seji Zonigi, Dikshichi, which is also watching the Kangil di Misega, say Maragi Nebe, no Messashunila.
Following a thorough deliberation, the House finalized that the special committee must take note of the members' opinions, including the need to amend the Companies Act, and the committee should include it in the draft recommendations, which will be discussed tomorrow. Bemal Hadan, BBS News.
3 Bhutanese HIV positive came out in the open and publicly disclosed their status while observing the World AIDS Day in Galifu. They shared their stories with the public who gathered to observe the day and created awareness on HIV/AIDS. During the event, Health Minister Thandin Wangchuk urged everyone to join the fight against HIV and demonstrate renewed leadership at all levels to set up the efforts to curb the epidemic. Urging people to use precaution, the minister said the government spends around 3 million nultram in procuring condoms. The World AIDS Day is observed on the 1st of December globally. Currently, there are 402 people living with the virus in the country. To date, 77 people had died. Bhutan Airlines was supposed to resume its domestic flights in October this year, but it did not happen. Tashi Yangtze's National Council member questioned the government's inability to enforce legal agreement executed with powerful company like Bhutan Airlines.
Bhutan Airlines was licensed and began operation with the understanding and agreement that the airline will also operate domestic flights. Tashi Yangtze MP asked the Information and Communications Minister why Tashi Air is being allowed to violate terms and conditions of the agreement.
The Gelifuki number Tandi, Webab Mebegi, Newton Cham, Chile, Tendi, Membe, Seshunilla. That Dinalu, there are Jorbachingi, Lededa, Lede Bom Sulu, Shungi, Timtingi, Netsiktu, Laglenda, Nichi, Bematsupai, Nedin Dele Tendeyang, Imbegi, Chanonji, Jungi Seshunilla.
The Minister of Information and Communications said Tashi Air has submitted 3 proposals to the ministry as options for resuming its domestic flights.
Du khadul chamchilo shabdo finigi gokab nanida yana chonla dindi majo chinje lok dige konde chulo lo ni de jegi duche jinina dima bachin the helicopter ke shabdo de gadebe phichubni na digi kole dato sunde nawe gara in sejuni.
MP Tashiwangil said such violation indicates the government is dictated by Tashi Air. He said such special exceptions from the government sends out a wrong message that there are 2 separate laws for the rich and the poor.
The Nigi da achichi shichagu tuji chinangonume te daregi misema sosokpagi shundigi te da gadebina mi bomlu timchida mi chunkulu timchwebina yan mi bom iruda chunku iruda da genjalu khedi yumedi da nechu sunga misunga gi kole ani
tenyema jitube te la chodam disu shubenga te besupse ngodara konarge ru khelendra jitube bongola ta tare tusiamchi hubda te puya imelo doma imelo se te tobachin sharada matonya zunge se jomitu bongosno mala ngai bawachindi ta ani bodolu te jungi khatule te tuji lejimena.
The Information and Communications Minister also informed that the issue has been submitted to the Cabinet for discussion. Compiled for Chitin Dubju, Pematsuki for BBS News.
The National Council resolved that the government must table legislations for business opportunity and information center so that in the future such establishments are instituted only after the authorization of the Parliament. The House also asks the same for the Agency for Promotion of Indigenous Crafts, which was set up by the previous government a few years ago.
The eminent member Dasho Karmayazir Reddy explained that the House supported the government's economic stimulus plan by passing the Supplementary Budget Appropriation Bill 2013 to 2014. However, the establishment of Business Opportunity and Information Center, which was in the plan, was not supported by the House. This, Dashokarma Reddy said, was because the establishment of the center was illegal, since it was instituted under no law. He said during the previous session, Prime Minister was questioned on the legality of the center. Prime Minister had said that if BOIC was proven illegal, the government will close the center. MPs from Bumtang and few others supported Dashokarma Reddy's statement.
총질 고갑다 된테we 날로 잘하나메 술롱아 지속되기 니 말하면베 데이터 순진 남비기 데이터 미데 날로 되면 디즈미 나와야 차디 두세 디티베 멘 슈니라 당가 저기 죽데 디기 대가 협달로 짜점 취미기 짜친 미슈비기 대된친 니비날로 가데베 두서 와친 다 생각 삽 시주 베니다 디수 또 완치디 지솔로 인이세 디날로 데이터 슝종 코나기 슝다 데이터 진정배 미치기 원체 메세 디 원체 주분 지소로 인세
데비 중기 데 루조야기 레첩세 에픽 디 지주 베탕기 콜레 디 지니고 자베 데 다르나바 데 총데 고갑 다딘테와데 지디고 자잡 좀치베 데 데베 숨메 세슈니라 데타 마웅파나로 데 남롱이 돈 잡게레 파체 조달로 데타 중 가즘 웅이로 데 디수게 베 헤마 BOIC 달로 BOIC da epic use te petigo jijabe te tinalepa trotik jonigi ngenka bom diome seshunila.
But some were not in the favor of the resolution.
charge amdi tega nanalo gadebe yemo zawachin BOIC charge amdi danga chi charge base shunila soktin chuni badara ngachi charge amdi charge dupchila charge amdi nalo gachi sudi yemo zawachin dinalo peljo songdel gogabda dadin tewadi dina sudi yibilla dia rangchungi lady chibe 고된 탐네 이 세비기 세리리베나 쇼크다운 축지번으로 비수디비라 당가라 홀레 배워진 담질롱아 시기 세주디 모두도 펠링 니버설달롱아 지기 속팅 주니번날로 슝기 카틀레 펠절 헨탑기 차르지디 나 순데 남달로 딩아치 차주 둡치 이제 주닐라
나이슬 림벽이 데마투투 베쿵게 배달로 다니디 소데라 다니 창일 짜고 제익디 가지 된레 두고본 서와젠 데 아니디 펠절 헨탑 차르시 기 룹니디얼로 이 세미티 세리리고 아이 지슈니 아니 베다 벤조 핸답 철신나 같이 두 서와자 아니 손들 고갑 다딘 때와 데 랑종 레디 이상 소소베 데 찬이 베데나 세리리 베두 지슈니 데 아니 베 유블레텐데 데 같이 나디 마바 탄드라 슈고 디가블로 세드로 데 BOIC 세드로 데 마중.
It was a heated deliberation since most of the MPs argued that the center was illegal. The final decision was reached after 21 members voted in favor of endorsing the resolution. Bemal Harden, BBS News.
11 landowners in Paro Kichu whose land were acquired by government are still confused about the substitute land given to them. The land acquisition took place in 2011 for the expansion of Kichu Monastery.
About 2 acres of land was acquired by the government from this place near Kichu Monastery. The land was acquired for the expansion of the monastery. Karma, one of the 11 landowners, lost over 60 decimal. Almost 4 years down the line, Karma is confused about the land substitution given to them. He and other landowners have not received laktrams, and the substitute land given to them remains occupied by someone else.
We were once told that we are being given substitute land from near the Kichu resort, but currently we don't have anything. The lands there have even walls surrounding them.
Gaki, another landowner who lost about 80 decimal, says the same.
We were told we would be given substitute land from near Kichu Resort. We had even gone there for the survey and allotments, but as of now, we have not been able to do anything there.
Lamgong Gabpup Singh says works to identify substitute land were started in 2012 and were all completed. He says the land near Kichu Resort was identified and the allotments were also settled. He added the reports have been submitted to the National Land Commission and has not heard back.
There has been no response or instructions so far, and the land here are already being used with cottages being constructed and walls being built around. the people are not very happy. They say they are not even able to use the substitute lands identified for them.
The substitute land falls in the vicinity of Kichu Resort. The owner of the resort, Penjur Wandi, in a phone interview said he had written an appeal letter to the National Land Commission since the demarcation works were done without his consent. He said he is willing to abide by the law but has appealed to the National Land Commission that he should be allowed to identify the location of the substitute land. He says he is waiting for a response and the Commission's decision. The Dzongkhok Land Record Office, however, says all works are complete and final. Only the issuance of the trams remains. Kampalfa Ishi Gelsen in Paro, Sonam Chodin, BBS News.
The air quality at Pasaka Industrial Estate in Chuka has been found to be exceeding the national standard, according to the National Environment Commission. Therefore, for stringent surveillance of the industrial emission, the Secretariat has asked the industries to install energy meters for pollution abatement equipment like gas cleaning plants and effluent treatment plants in their respective industries. To this effect, an agreement was also signed between the Commission and the industries recently.
The monitoring of air quality at Pasaka Industrial Estate was carried out on 4th September this year, and it was found that the air quality was bad.
The ambient air quality in Pasaka has deteriorated over the years due to increasing pollution from industrial operations as well as from other fugitive sources such as increasing vehicular movements, and it could be also due to plying of vehicles along the unpaved and poorly managed road condition. Then it could be also due to open burning of biomass and other materials nearby the industrial area. And also it could be possibly due to transboundary air pollution sources from across the border as well.
The Secretary of National Environment Commission during his recent meeting with the industrialist said there have been reports of industries shutting down pollution abatement equipment during night time and releasing the emission directly into the air. However, with the energy meters for pollution abatement equipment installed, officials said such activities can be monitored.
So when we talk about the energy meter for pollution abatement equipment, we must understand that the meter installed is not for billing purpose, but basically it's more of a surveillance system to prove that the pollution control abatements are operated in tandem with the operation of the industry plant. So now after installing separate energy meter, we, the NACS, in coordination with PPC and the concerned industries will be calculating and fixing the baseline energy consumption of all the industries depending on the capacity of the electrical motor used in the plant as well as after studying the mechanics of the motor.
Any deviation from the baseline would mean that the plants have not operated pollution abatement equipment. While some industries have already installed such meters, most haven't. Meanwhile, on shutting down the pollution abatement equipment during night time, industrialists said the practice might have been prevalent in the past. However, today, due to growing market for microsilica dust, which is a byproduct of the silicon and the ferrosilicon production, such illegal practices have stopped. And microsilica dust can only be collected when they use gas cleaning plants. Kampal for Sonam Wangdi, Tanden Funso BBS News.
This year, the Kings Cup had a new champion, Sheikh Jamal, in yellow jersey, a team from Bangladesh, won the Kings Cup trophy this year. They defeated Pune FC by a lone goal, which was scored in the first half. The final score was 1-0 to nil. Second half saw many cards flying from the referee, and just at the end of the final whistle, a player from Sheikh Jamal was sent off. The pressure mounted on the Sheikh Jamal FC, but Pune FC could not capitalize. His Royal Highness Prince Jigil Ugin Wangchuk awarded the trophy to the winning team. Over 3,000 football enthusiasts witnessed the final, cheering for both the teams. Well, that is all we have for you this week. Join us again next week for yet another edition of Bhutan This Week. Until then, it is goodbye from me, and I am Sonam Rinchen.